What's up, everybody? How are we doing? I missed you guys last week. We did not have a stream last week, if you guys didn't notice, because we were out doing stuff before Murph, getting things packed up, and we were hanging out with some of our good friends over in Illinois. Mr. Sam Prentice was in from the UK, and he was hanging out with John from Tripods Garage, so that's what we were doing. I ditched you guys to go to Six Flags with them, and man, does Sam love roller coasters. I have not met a guy that loves roller coasters more than he does. So, oh, sorry, my sinuses are not happy. Our air quality is horrible here. Like, it is so like hazy from I believe it's from the wildfires in Canada, making its way all the way down to here in Indiana. It's horrible. Like, I've never seen air quality this poor, to be completely honest. So, but yeah. So anyways, what do I have here? I had a bunch of post-it notes I had here. And my freaking voice is recovering from Murph. Murph was really fun. It was a really good turnout this year. So here I got updates here. We're gonna go down the list just so I don't forget. So in terms of things that you guys might want to buy, we were talking about doing mystery boxes again. I'm just wondering if that's something you guys would be interested in. Basically, we're going to go through all of our drawers and old inventory and stuff, and basically pack boxes full of our crap, and you guys can buy our boxes of crap. We did that a couple years ago. People seem to really like it. So that's on my agenda, because we are going to be cleaning things out, and we have tons of stuff laying around that's probably useful to other people, whether you could use it yourself or find somebody to pass it on to. I'm just wondering if that would be something you guys would be interested in. I think we did like the 6x6x6 boxes. Those were a good size to put most of the stuff in. So Yeah. So mystery boxes, let me know if that's something you guys be interested in the chat. If it is, we'll start making them. If not, I'll have to figure out something else to do. I do have, I was cleaning out, I totally forgot I had these. I'm trying to remember when I got them. I don't know if there's a date on the box here. I don't even know if this is the box they came in. Doesn't say what date it was, but I have a bunch of these MKS Robin E3Ps with the matching displays. And I also have the 2209 drivers that go with these. So would any of you guys be interested in purchasing these? This will be purchased as is. I will, like, they all work. They're brand new. But not something I'm planning on doing firmware for. So let me know if that's if that'd be something you guys would be interested in. If so, I'll throw them on the site for a couple of bucks. They are cool little boards. I just never ended up doing anything with them. Basically, they're a, like, Creality style board. So let me know. If you guys are interested, send us a message. Like, just shoot us a message on our sales, on our sales contact on our website. Because I can just set them through as a custom charge. So it would be like, I don't know, I could probably do like 40 or 50 bucks for the screen and the board and the USB cable, and 4 2209 drivers go with them. So yeah. Anyways, again, I see people typing questions in the chat. You need to follow the directions. See this little guy here? He is working overtime to point out what you have to do. But yeah, so I do have the stream on a little bit longer of a delay, so the replay is a little bit higher quality. So please take that in mind. It's the Robin E3P, MKS Robin E3P. I'll post a link to their GitHub. It's a 32-bit board with socketed drivers. It'll fit in any footprint that's like the Creality footprint. So anything like the stock Creality 427 board goes in, or Easy board would go in, that kind of stuff. I think I got them because we were going to test them out and sell them, but I ended up getting sidetracked. So, all right. So other random stuff that I have that I want to get rid of, and I know there's probably going to be a few people that might want these. So we were working on the Ender 5 Dual Z kit, and it ended up being too cost prohibitive to bring to market. But I ended up making some prototypes that are functional. There's no directions, but it's pretty self-explanatory. It's a new bed carriage, the rods and everything. I think we have 8 of them. So if that's something you guys might be interested in, I'm probably going to list that on the site as well, or just send us a message. They'd probably be around $60 to $70. Just the carriages we paid like $70-something for, but that would include new linear rods for the extra support side, another 2 motors. I think we got identical motors. Yeah, 2 new motors, all the bearings, literally all the parts. So definitely would be a DIY thing, but basically it replaces the stock Ender 5 carriage, gives you dual Zs. They're sitting there collecting dust. We aren't going to launch it as an official product because we are moving on to like the kit printer stuff. So let me know. All right. So one last thing about stuff that we're selling is I have the coax filament is on sale. So we are discontinuing carrying coax just because we're making room for new filaments and new products. I have so much space in our warehouse. So if you guys want to pick up a good deal on the coax filament, they're $24.99. They're normally $30. That $24.99 is basically $1 or $2 over our cost. We do not have very good margins on them, so that's about as low as we're going to go on those. But we have some colors left, so if you guys are looking to get a decent deal on one of our favorite filaments, check them out. We're looking at getting like Polymaker in and a couple other brands, stuff that's a little bit lower retail price, but still good filament. The coax is great stuff, but I understand not everybody wants to be paying $30 a roll for basic filament. So we're making room for new stuff. So out with the old, in with the new. All right, so I'm going to get stuff out now before the before we get into the Q&A. So the SV06 Plus with the EasyBoard support, I will be working on that tomorrow. So hopefully I will have the firmware out by Friday. So I'm assuming it'll be pretty easy. It's the same board that's in the regular SV06. So I'll be needing to just basically change bed sizes, verify the directions all work correctly. I will be putting the board in our SV06 Plus, so I'll be testing on an actual machine instead of just doing it blind. So yeah, if you guys are waiting on the EasyBoard V2 for your SV06 Plus, that will be coming by the weekend. So my goal is to have it pushed out no later than end of day Friday. We also got Easy Neos back in stock. So if you guys were waiting for our NeoPixel lighting kits, these are in stock and ready to ship. And then one other point I want to hit here, and we're going to talk about Murph after this, is adding a 5th driver to the EasyBoard V2. So a lot of people have asked to add a 2nd driver, not for an extruder, but for dual Z leveling, so the G34. So if you have an auto bed leveling probe, whether that's our Easy ABL or another probe, you can actually use that to level out your gantry. So if your bed has 2 motors, it can actually level it out as long as each motor is connected to its own driver. Now, the only thing is we're not going to produce this unless I can get at least 50 people to commit to us running production on this. It will be an extra board. More than likely, it will be a separate board that you'll mount somewhere on the printer frame, like the 2020 extrusion with a mount. It'll have a 2209 driver on it, and it will connect to a couple of the I/O pins on the Easy board. We'll have it all documented and give it power from your power supply. And I believe the target price point will be right around $25. So what we might do, I got to figure out how we can do this without actually capturing the payments, is I might do like a pre-order on that and not capture the payments. So that way, if somebody does want to cancel, we can do it without having fees taken out. I got to look into that. But the bottom line is, if we can't get it, if we can't get at least 50 people to commit to purchasing this add-on, we're not going to have it happen. It's just not worth the time for us to do it if it's going to be a very niche product. Yeah, maybe we'll do it. Maybe we'll do like a survey. I'm going to write this down. We're going to send out a survey to our customers to see who will actually buy this, like actually buy this with that target $25 price. So I'm just going to jot that down. All right, and I was thinking about calling it the EZ2 add-on board. Do you get it? Z2, since it'll be for a 2nd Z driver. Yeah. So, yep, we're going to be more careful about what we're putting stuff into. I can't tell you how many projects like the Ender 6 enclosures that we lost a bunch of money on because everybody told me they wanted them, and when they found out they were going to be like $190 because my cost was like over $150 on them, not including shipping. Nobody bought them, and I had to sell them at a loss. So if not enough people are going to commit to different products, we are not going to bother making them. All right. Last thing, we will be doing firmware subscriptions. So I got to figure out how we're going to roll out the subscriptions to our website. I had a lot of people asking if they could have auto renewal in different lengths. So I was thinking we do 3 different levels, every 3-month subscription for $5 for those 3 months. 6 months would be $8, and $15 would be for a whole year, and then have those on auto renewal where you guys can go in and click cancel. You don't have to contact us to cancel it. You can easily cancel it. So I had people requesting longer lengths, and just because of how much time the firmware takes, we are going to change the subscription model to $5 for 3 months instead of 6. We're going to leave the current stuff up there right now. I still have to get everything set up on the back end, and we have to get a new plugin for our website to handle the subscriptions, which I also have to call PayPal to enable something called vaulting and something else on our account to support that. But that's stuff I'm working on. And we'll be doing a paid model on all of our firmware once we start going forward, because the bottom line is we are spending money on printers that we don't need just to do firmware development. And when things were like really good in terms of sales wise, we could justify that cost because basically everybody buying stuff from the shop was subsidizing. Well, since the economy slowed down, we have to have the firmware earn its keep, so to speak. So we'll be doing a whole transition phase, basically The way we're going to do it is once we move to the paid model for it, you'll get the firmware when you buy a product from us that needs a firmware. You can purchase it separately. And then we're going to have a 1-week grace period before we go to a full paid model where you guys can get a free 3-month subscription for free during that initial period. So that way, if you have a product from us already, you can get a free subscription to the firmwares you want. And then going forward, if you buy like an LCD kit, that needs firmware. You buy an ABL kit, that needs firmware. You buy a filament sensor kit, that needs firmware, or Easy Neos. So you'll be able to select what firmware for what board / printer combo you want. And then that will help us to drive sales on the products and also help us for people that are just buying the firmware to actually help support the development, because the reality is it takes a lot of my time to do the firmware. I'm literally the only person that works on the firmware here. So any time spent on that takes away from other company initiatives. And when I see a lot of people basically knocking off our ideas like LCD kits and then posting literally in their design files that they're sharing, I'm not spending the money, the $35 or whatever to buy a kit from TH3D. So I designed this so you guys can just basically leech off of them. That kind of stuff really sucks to see because I literally spend actual money and time making the firmware. So we have to have it make sense for us business-wise. So all the source code will still be on GitHub. The only thing that won't be on GitHub when we move to the paid model will be the board config. So the core files will still be there, and then when you purchase the firmware, you will get the full source code, and this is all GPL compliant. For any of the neckbeards that like to go, you can't sell open source firmware, you can talk to Scott. He'll tell you that what we're doing is perfectly fine. And actually, when we started the company, all I had was the ABL kits, and when you bought the ABL kits, you got the firmware with it. And a lot of people didn't like that, but the reality is we need to, put food on our table. So, if people are not buying products as much as they used to, we have to subsidize the firmware by, making money directly from it, whether that's people then being incentivized to purchase the products and getting the firmware with it, or directly purchasing the firmware. So, all right. Oh, sorry. Okay. I got something that Krista won at Murph, so naturally I stole it from her. So we're going to play with this. I actually had some really good conversations with the actual CEO of Big Tree Tech, and I don't know what his name, I don't know what his position was. He's basically like one of the, he's not a salesperson, but his name's Luke. He's a really cool guy. I also met Trevor, who doesn't work for them, but he's like a community person that came out to help them. Both really cool guys. If you guys have been following for a while, Luke and I butted heads a while back, but like literally in person, we sat down. He apologized for, literally his first words out of my mouth was, "I'm sorry for being an asshole 2 years ago about the processor stuff and all the other things." So we're looking at, I'm not going to say we're going to carry their stuff because there's still certain, I'm still going to stick to my guns of I'm not going to sell stuff I won't use. But after talking to other vendors that sell these, and considering I do like the form factor of this, like I got to actually play with this, stuff like this we might be carrying in our shop. So if you guys do want to see us carry some of the higher end stuff they sell, because I'm told they're higher end stuff like the Octopuses, the Pad 7, those are a lot better quality than like their SKR E3 mini series, which is the main boards that I had a lot of problems with in terms of DOAs and failures. I've still heard a lot of issues with the SKR E3 mini V3, so that's something I won't carry. I have one because we make firmware for it, because we want to test the firmware we make for it, but these lower end boards we probably won't ever carry. I said before, if they make some stuff that's good and the quality is good, I'd be happy to carry it. I'm not hard headed. You know what I mean? So pick and choose what we will carry, but they are very eager to work with new vendors. They're very aware of us. The CEO, Eric, was actually really friendly. I was surprised because, I've been very outspoken about the quality control and their support. I talked to Luke too, and he was explaining to me that they're actually finding, because they have been working on improving their QC, they've actually been finding that the majority of the issues now are people damaging their products, which I can relate to. But support is still an issue. But the benefit is if we started carrying their products, people buying the products from us would be dealing with us. You wouldn't be dealing with Big Tree Tech support. So yeah, I think that would be a huge plus, because if you can get those boards, they have very popular boards. And as long as their quality is good, I'm going to go through and test everything. This I'm going to actually set up on a machine. I'm probably, like I said, I was going to be playing with Clipper. I'll probably be putting this on Ender 6 with the EasyBoard V2 in it. So if they make a good product, they make a good product. I did get to see the Sonic Pad in person. Wow, does that thing feel crap? Like holy flimsy. But I think here. So this one was actually the last one they had. It was actually the one that was on display. But so that's why it looks used-ish. It was their display model, but it's a fully functioning one. I really like it. It feels really good, like in terms of build quality. But I got the whole package. I'll probably re-image the SD card because I don't know what they've done to it. I'll put a fresh image on there. But I actually am really excited to play with this. So the other thing too is we could also even run something like Octoprint on here. This is using their, I think they call their CB1. It's like their CM4 alternative single board computer. So I'm going to play with Octoprint on this as well, not just play with it with Clipper, because this is basically just a SBC with a bunch of ports and a screen with a touchscreen, and Octoprint does support screen interfaces. It'll be kind of cool. But yeah, as far as the Sonic Pad, still stay away from that. You know, they're violating open source license agreements, and I'll give you Big Tree Tech this is fully open source, software and hardware. So if you're going to play with one of the Clipper pads, this would be the one I would screw with. So anyways, how many people, I see some new names here in the chat. How many of you guys started following us after discovering us at Murph? I'm just curious. All right. This has been a lot of talking. I've been going for 29 minutes already. You guys need to ask questions in the chat here. So I can answer them. So we do have questions here. I'm going to pull these up in a second here. All right. So anyways, with Murph was really good. We had a really good turnout. It was nice to see everybody. I know some of the people watching here, I got to meet you guys, so it was awesome to meet people in person. I see my mic's running a little hot, so I'm going to turn this down a little bit. I'm shocked. New management at BTT. It's just, there's been a lot of stuff and a lot of the struggles, you know, they're very open with me. We were talking about, I don't want to get into too many details. I didn't sign an NDA or anything, but basically they have a lot of the same struggles that any businesses have, you know, like employees, you know, doing their jobs correctly. They're going to be implementing things that are going to be it's going to make it very difficult for people who are slacking and not doing their job QCing things to be held accountable, which is great to hear. So yeah. Anyways, yeah, I mean, the bottom line is if they make stuff that's good, I'll sell it if it's cool. Like if it sells and it's cool, I have no problem doing it. So I'm going to check this out. This will be our first foray. I also have this, which I bought myself. I have not done anything with it, but it's next on my firmware queue. Is doing firmware for the Octopus. So this is their Octopus board. And this seems really well built. And what I've been told from people who are very familiar with these is these boards are one of their better ones because they actually worked with like the Voron team and the Clipper people to make sure that they weren't cheaping out on it. So this is a little more expensive board. I think they're like $89 to $100. I bought this with the drivers, and there's one of their screens in here. I think it was like 110. But anyways, they do have some good stuff, and it seems like they're trying to turn things around. So, but the nice thing is I have a direct line of communication to Eric, who's the CEO there. Eric and I think Hope is his wife. And then, like I said, Luke, I've talked to Luke quite a bit. So it was nice seeing everybody. It was nice, you know, burying the hatchet and, you know, moving forward. So, all right. Let's get into what we're here for, and that's you guys ask me questions. So again, I feel like a broken record. If you guys want to ask questions, you need to put !Q in front of the chat, okay? And then my bot will reply. So you will see the bot replying. Okay, 3D Experience says, is the first one, what was cool at Murph? I mean, I didn't think there was any, well, there was a guy that did full color lithophanes. I actually didn't take any pictures aside from a couple selfies with people. Actually, just to prove that I did actually talk to the BTT guys, and no, I was not held at gunpoint. Eric actually gave me... Oh, that's another thing. If you guys were at Murph and you saw a black water bottle, this is the new one. Notice there's no stickers. I lost my water bottle. I'm going to try calling the hotel, but Eric was very adamant that I put a sticker... I put a sticker on my water bottle, so that's Eric. He's the CEO of BTT. That's Luke, and you can see the Big Tree Tech sticker right there on my bottle. And then I lost it. I don't know what happened to it. So I'm a little sad because, as you can see, like, I had a ton of stickers on there from different companies and stuff from different events. So if you guys find it, let me know. I'll pay shipping and give you like a $20 reward or something. I want to get it back. I'm trying to find... Here we go. So here's another one here. This is me, and then Luke again, and Trev. Trev, like I said, he was one of the community guys that was there just helping out, volunteering. Really cool dude, too. Enjoyed hanging out with him and Luke and shooting the shit. So I had one other thing. Hang on. I am going to give someone else a shout-out, too, because I really appreciate it. And that is Mr. Matt from Akuma Mods. Because Matt showed up at my house and was like, hey, Creality gave me this at the after party, and he already had one. He actually got rid of it. So he gave it to us. So we have an Ender 5S1. It's already built. Creality built it. So I don't know how well it is, but I'm wondering if I should take it apart and put it back in the box, or if I should just do a stream going over it. But it's already built. People were asking about the Ender 5S1. I was actually asking... if people want us to do stuff for the Ender 5S1, and, you know, the printer's right anywhere from $400 to $500, so I was like, I really don't want to spend that kind of money on a printer we don't need. And then the stars aligned, and we have one. So if you guys haven't checked out Matt, his channel is Akuma Mods, AKUMA-MODS. Make sure you give him a shout out. He's also very big on Tic Tac. You know, he always opens his TikTok. He's like, this is the 3D printing god. I guess it was someone called him that or something, and it just kind of stuck, and he ran with it just as some shits and giggles. So anyways, check him out. Make sure you give him a thanks, because we're going to be doing stuff for that. Definitely going to do an LCD kit. Scott from Marlin, which he usually is in our streams. He also has one, somebody working with him on that, going back and forth. I'm going to send him out whatever I come up with for that screen kit, because I know he hates those D-Win screens just as much as I am. And I totally forgot to mention, when we do move to the full paid model for our firmware, we will be donating money monthly to Marlin again. We originally scaled that back when we were trying to look at things to cut out, but it's only fair that if we're going to be charging for everything and it's generating more revenue for the company, we're going to kick him back and support him so he can keep funding his development for Marlin in general. So yeah, forgot to mention that, but we'll have a whole press release. I actually have it all typed up and everything. I just wanted to give you guys a heads up that we are doing changes and stuff, and with how we're doing things. So, and the good thing is, if the firmware is now a product and not just, you know, kind of a pet project that I use, then we can put more time to it, do new stuff with it, improve it. One of the things I want to do is actually make a plugin for VS Code that is basically a front end for the configuration files. So you guys can just check boxes and select drop downs instead of having to uncomment things. That's something I was talking about Scott, and I would be paying him to do that for us, just because he's got way more experience with writing VS Code extensions. So who knows? Maybe there'll be a Unified 2 firmware extension, just like the Marlin auto build one. So I got a lot of fun stuff planned. All right. So yeah, what was cool with Mirth? I think it was those full color lithophanes was definitely my number one thing. There was also a guy right next to us, and we actually got a scan. He had this thing you stood on, and he had this mount with a phone and a camera. And it went around and took like 500 something pictures, and it generates a 3D model. So I'm going to have a 3D model of Krista and I looking all cute together, and we're going to print that out, and it's going to go on our wedding cake as our topper next year when we get married. So that's pretty cool. And then there was another, I think it was something Polymaker teamed up with. It's like HueForge, I think it's called, where you can make these cool prints just by doing filament swaps. where it basically layers it. It prints a couple layers, and you change a color, prints a couple layers, change a color, prints a couple layers, change a color, and it takes it from photos. So that was really cool. I didn't get, honestly, too much of a chance to go around, and I mean, I went and said hi to everybody, but I didn't really look at anything on table. It was more of the same stuff. You know, there's people with their Core XY builds, rat rigs, Vorons, that kind of stuff, and their printers. But I was mostly there to take it all in and chat with people. I love talking. So, yeah. So Peter is our next question. He said, any news on the 5 control upgrade for the Easy Board? Again, like I said, I want to, we need to hit a minimum, otherwise it's not worth us doing. I'm just going to be honest with you. There's not a super easy way to do it manually like I did just like testing out. That was just some random stepper driver expansion board. I made the other alternative to making a full add-on board where it's like we're having the board soldered, like the chip soldered to the board and everything. Would be something that would use just an off-the-shelf driver, which is what I was testing with. I was actually using the MKS 2209, and doing just something simple like a through-hole board that I could have just like a DIY kit where, you know, either we could solder it up really, really quick and the price would be lower if we soldered it, you know, or the price would be higher if we soldered it, or it's something you guys could tack together. You know, there's a couple different ways I can go about it. I think the fastest way to bring that to market would be utilizing a regular step stick and doing that. But I had full UART control working and everything too. So it wasn't just the driver and it was in dumb mode. It was full UART control. So yeah, it's definitely possible. That was Tony, aka Pulo, was over here. And we were talking about it. I was like, you know, we got enough IO pins and most people don't use a serial header. And I got another IO pin spare on the programming header, and I was like, that should be enough, because you basically typically need the minimum for drivers without UART. You need enable, step, and direction. So, however, UART, you can do a single wire UART, which is what I had set up, and you can do a software enable. So the enable pin could be omitted, which leaves us with still 3 IO pins. So on the serial header, we actually have 2 IO pins on there. So we just disable the serial port in the firmware. And then we have one other IO pin on the SWD programming header. And then we also need to give it 3.3 volt for the logic for the driver. So when we have all that, and it can just be a couple of jumper wires. So it's just more of a proof of concept. I hacked up the firmware and it worked. So proof of concept proven. Like I said, just trying to figure out what method to go with, whether we're going to be going with a full board with an embedded driver, or we just go with an off-the-shelf driver with an adapter board. Either one will accomplish the end result, right? Okay. Peter Anderson, will those Ender 5 kits work at the Ender Center? Probably not. He also says, I commit to at least 3 of those boards. Set up a page on my cache, even as a pre-order. Yeah, for something like that, we're going to have to do a pre-order, because I've been burned so many times of taking a lot of our company money and doing like these niche projects, and then nobody ends up buying them. So I'm pretty good at estimating costs on things, so I can get an accurate cost on whatever project that is. But as much as I don't like pre-orders, I understand now why companies do them, because a lot of times people won't commit to buy what they say they want. So I do want to thank Fine Finish for joining the caffeine fund. Sorry about that. Let me get a sip of water. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. That goes towards my caffeine habit. All right. The next question is from 3D Experiments. He says, does the Ender 3 V2 screen firmware need to be updated every Marlin mainboard firmware update? It does not. We will typically tell you guys when we are going to require a LCD update. So basically the firmware that's on there is, or that we bundle with, that was done by a guy named Dave, or aka Insanity Automation. And that one works with the current Marlin builds that we have. I like I said, I think I'm pulling up here, so I think we're on the pack version is 1.3. We do publish detailed release notes on our firmware, so if there is an LCD firmware update, we will put it in big bold letters saying, hey, you need to update the LCD. But I think that got last updated last year. That code doesn't change that often. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? All right. Leo Man says, I just got a PA6 filament, so playing with nylons, and a hardened steel nozzle. I have an Ender5 Pro. My temperature can only go up to 260. Should I flash a printer to get higher temps? How is PA6 at a higher temp? So nylon typically does like higher temperatures. I've played around with nylon quite a bit. In terms of temperatures, your stock thermistor, I would not run past like 280. Those thermistors can't really handle the higher temps, so you could tell it to go, you could tell it you have a high temp thermistor, and I would set the max at like 290. It's going to be whatever the max temp minus 15. So you set it at 290. The max you'll actually be able to set it to is 275. That's just a Marlin thing. I actually have in my notes, I want to figure out how to code that out or like modify it. So basically, if you specify 300, it'll actually set it to like 315 on the back end. So you can actually set it to 300 if you have a thermistor that's capable of that, if that makes sense. But yeah, you could bump it up a little bit. I wouldn't go past 280 for continual printing on the stock thermistor because it probably will fail. I see Jay Moore says, what do you think about the Bamboo Lab X1? I saw them. They're cool looking, but not the type of printer I like. I don't like closed off ecosystems like that where you have proprietary parts. Apparently, you can't even... a lot of the aftermarket companies like E3D and stuff are having a hard time making their own nozzles and stuff for it because you can't even PID tune the hot end. So it's basically a printer for people who don't want to mess with printers. But, you know, even those you're still going to have at some point, you're going to have maintenance. You're going to have things that need to get fixed. But there's just less crap to deal with them. My big thing is I do not trust, especially stuff from these Chinese companies that are closed source. Creality included, actually any of them that connect to the network that I can't tell what's going on, especially since it's got a camera. It's just a security risk. I would not trust it on my network here. You know, the other thing too is China likes to steal designs, and what's stopping them from, taking your STLs or your G-code files, which you can basically get the part from the G-code files, and, taking your designs or whatever. I'm not saying they're doing that, but I'm saying I wouldn't put it past them. That's my big thing, and also I just like having local control of my devices. So they're cool printers. The multicolor looks really cool, but again, it's a very closed ecosystem. The other thing is if Bamboo goes out of business, you're screwed. You're screwed. You're not gonna be able to get parts. And all their cloud stuff won't work, which is a lot of the cool features that the printer has relies on their cloud. So yeah. Let me put it this way. I would sooner build a Voron than I would buy a Bamboo. Because at least the Voron is all open source and it's all locally controlled. Musin says, I recently got my SRS6 Plus. What are your top 3 recommended upgrades and mods? So definitely the layer fan, 100%. The layer fan, putting a 5015 fan on there. We actually sell a full kit with all the hardware and the fan and everything. You can also DIY it if you're looking to save some money. Layer fan for sure. Most printers, stock layer fans suck. Other than that, the change of power supply out for the Meanwhile power supplies, the stock power supply is not great, and apparently the Plus, people are having their 500 watt power supply die. The Meanwhile 350 watt 24 volt ones that we carry are a great replacement, and it's actually draws much less. I shouldn't say much less. It draws a little bit less than the max rating on that power supply, which I think is 14.6 amps. I'm looking to see if I have one over here. The printer pulled about 13, so well under the 350 watt max that power supply put out. Why they went with some weird, crappy 500 watt one, I don't know, but that's really it, to be honest. Just the layer fan, get it better cooling, and change the power supply out. We, like I said at the beginning of the stream, I don't know if you caught it, we will be getting our board support in there. The stock board, you cannot run stuff like NeoPixels on there. So like, our Easy Neo lighting kits, I held one up earlier. Where did I set it? Chat, where did I put it? Oh, it's right here. Never mind. So our lighting kits, which actually will go up in the top of the printer, I'm going to double check to see if the ones I made for the SV06 will fit the Plus to mount that in the top bar that goes across the two uprights. But you cannot run those on the stock board because they decided to use a knockoff processor. Yeah, but that's an optional one. The stock board works okay. You know, if you're not in a hurry to get all the fancy stuff like, you know, having just it run faster, you can do a lot with the stock board. It's a 32-bit board. It is a knockoff CPU, but you can't run NeoPixels on it. It is a slower processor than our Easy board. I think it's what is it, run at 72 megahertz? I think it's clocked at 72. I know technically that part number that's on there can go faster, but I think they're running it at 72. But yeah, Michael Courier is asking, have I ever used any metal paste 3D printers? I have not. Rusty said, any other program to compile Marlin besides VS Code? Technically, you can compile Marlin with Arduino IDE, but that is not a supported method. So VS Code is not hard. Most people's problems with Visual Studio Code is they don't wait for their computer to download all the libraries. If you look in the bottom status window, and I can probably show you, although I probably have most of my libraries downloaded already. Let me see. This firmware should compile. We'll see here. So you can see here, see it says initializing. It does take a sec. There's also a little window down in the right-hand corner that my head's covering that says it's updating. You got to look and see if it's doing stuff. Because if you try to do stuff before it's done and ready, it will not work. And we cover this in our setup video for VS Code. So let's see. I think this was the firmware I was playing with, the Dual Xeon. So let's see. I'm assuming all the stuff is downloaded already, but you can see here. So this is a good example. So you see packages here. These right here, these all have to be downloaded in order for you to compile the firmware. So if your computer's slow and or your internet's slow, it's going to take a bit. Also, if you have a firewall that interrupts the downloads, that can also cause problems if the external site that it's trying to pull them down for is not working correctly. Again, it'll cause problems. But you can see here, VS Code works great. Just give it a chance to, you know, do its thing. Now, let me see here. I'm just going to pull this up. I'm trying to get better with not showing personal crap on here because, like, this is I use this computer for work and personal stuff. I'm just double checking there's nothing there that I don't mind sharing. We look good. All right, here. So in your user folder, and this is on Mac and Windows, you guys see these Platform IO and VS Code folders. If you need to do a fresh installation of VS Code because you're having issues, uninstall VS Code and delete these two folders, okay? So this will usually clear up any sort of issues. So I'm going to double check. Let me switch back. I can just do this right now. Let me double check that there is nothing showing on here. All right. And I'm just going to delete those folders and show you what VS Code does when you load it up. So I'm going to go here. So here's the VS Code. Here's the Platform IO. I'm going to go ahead and delete these. Okay. So I'm going to delete these two folders here. So this has all like the libraries and stuff it downloads, your personal preferences, that kind of stuff. That's where it stores all in the .VS Code, and then the .Platform IO also has all the Platform IO stuff. Now, when I reload VS Code, it's going to have to re-download all these files. So you can see there, it was like 1.5 gigs. That's a lot of data. So if you have a slow internet connection, that's going to take time. So I'm going to let that finish. I'm going to reload VS Code. And we should see it try to start downloading a bunch of stuff. Now, if you notice, Platform IO is completely gone. So if we look here, do you want to install the recommended Platform IO extension? I'm going to go ahead and tell you, yes, I want to install it. I'm going to go ahead and install it. So now it's going to actually have to download and install the program. Or the extension, I should say. And you can see it's doing its thing. Just let it go. Don't touch it. It'll tell you when it's done. Apparently, I also have an update for VS Code. But the thing is, if you don't wait for this to finish and you try to compile, it's not going to work. So, you notice I don't even have the little checkboxes down in the corner. It's because the extension isn't installed. Now, if I go back to my folder here and look at, you can see here, these folders came back. So that's what I recommend. If you're having issues with VS Code, at the very minimum, just delete those 2 folders with it closed and reopen it, and then it will reinstall everything that you need. And again, give it time to do its thing. You can see, like, I have a fairly fast computer. This is an older i9 9900K. I have a 1 gigabit internet connection, so I have a very fast internet connection. And it's still taking a sec to do its thing. So it's got to do a lot of stuff. So if you try to rush into it, or if you're like, oh, I don't have the little thing here, you have to install and let this go. So you can see this is done. I'm going to reload it. And if everything went to plan, you should see it pop up here. You can see there. But again, here, look at it. It's installing other stuff that I need, other libraries and things and extensions. So, and it's going to be popping up all these things. Do you want to find missing stuff? No, you don't need that. But again, you see it's doing configuration in the background. You got to let this do its thing. Otherwise, you're going to have a bad time. So I'm not even going to try to compile this until I see this is done. I'm just going to let it do its thing. And we'll see. Just watch it fail. I'll be like, hey, let it do its thing, and it'll be happy. And then it fails. I'm definitely going to clip this segment out. This is probably going to be a good clip to pull out of this stream. I know I haven't posted any Ask Tim clips, but I feel like this is a good one to pull out of the stream. What do you guys think? Look at that. There's more stuff. Did you see it say looking for another mirror? Probably because the first mirror was not up, or my internet connection couldn't hit it. So the first time you pull it up, depending on your internet connection, depending on your internet connection speed and depending on your computer, it's gonna take a sec. So you can see there, that was an error. It said it couldn't connect to that that URL. So one of the servers that it's trying to pull these files on is probably screwed up. Or it's down, or maybe they're blocking my IP. It could be a billion different things. It could be rate limited too. That's the other thing. If you're hitting GitHub a lot, you could also get rate limited. We've had issues here where we're rate limited because we have all the pies and stuff running Octoprint, and they're hitting GitHub, and they're basically like, yeah, your IP has been talking to GitHub's API a little too much without an API key. We're gonna throttle you for an hour. That's another thing. There could be a bunch of other stuff, but basically just let it do its thing. Yeah. But the good thing is, once you let it do its thing, you typically have a pretty quick way to compile. So let's see if it's going to be happy. I don't see anything running down here. There's nothing going on. You can ignore this. Let's see. So you can see there, the packages, it downloaded those already. And now we should be able to compile. So the thing is, you don't want to try to compile even though the little thing shows up here. If it's like doing stuff over here, or you can see it doing things, let it go. And there we go. So it works. Just got to be patient. A lot of times, like I said, I've seen people rush into it and they don't give it enough time. The other thing too is if you have antivirus software, I've seen antivirus software interfere with it. I think I'm using Bitdefender free on here. I had Avast and AVG. They interrupted VS Code, so you could also just put a exclusion for your VS Code folders or in your firmware folders, so it's not screwing with those. Yeah. So, all right. So there you go. So if you're having issues with it, try what I just showed. I'll clip this out and post this as a separate little a little thingy. So. All right, 3D Experience says, I forget who had a new pure recycled PETG that prints out a 256 plus C. They claim it can be used instead of ABS, and I checked that out. I did not. That sounds like Greengate. They're big on the recycled PETG. If it's actually PETG, they can say it could replace ABS, but the reality is PETG has a specific glass transition temperature of around 80 degrees C. You're not going to get around that unless you're mixing something else, whether that's additives or, you know, putting another plastic that's got a higher temp in there. It might be better than PETG in terms of resisting temperatures, but sounds like kind of marketing wink to me, to be completely honest. Greengate's got some cool colors and stuff, but like a lot of the rolls, my big complaint with them is a lot of the rolls I've gotten from them, the spools were like spooled horribly. A couple batches we had, and they said they fixed this, but the spool was too small for the filament. So it would like unspool itself, which was not fun. And the other thing is I've gotten many spools from them and their filament's clear and there's like bubbles, air bubbles in the freaking filament, which then create crappy prints. We carried them for a little bit, but like it printed okay. It's just really expensive for what it is. You know, their whole marketing gimmick is it's recycled. I don't care if it's recycled or not. I just care how well it prints. So, Peter Anderson said, what about the Fabrico Ender 5 upgrade kit we were talking about previously? That's the Mercury 1 kit, and we'll be doing those for just the Ender 5. I actually just talked to Hector at Murph to see if he was still wanting to provide us with the hardware kits. We'll be providing printed parts, and he was actually very excited to know that we'll be doing Marlin firmware for it. You know, like for example, with our Easy board, where you'll have just one option if you built the Mercury 5, or the Mercury 1 Ender 5 kit. You can just tell it, hey, I have this, and pre-set it up. So we'll be testing it on a printer. But yeah, that's something I'd like to get in the shop in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So we were just waiting to hear back from him. Apparently he was moving their business, so that's why he was not getting back to us, because he was moving his entire business to a different location. So let's see here. JT says, any way I could purchase acrylic plexiglass kit that uses the existing frame of the Ender 5 Plus or company you trust to make said panels? I'm not aware of anyone that uses the 5 Plus, and you cannot put those on the side like you can with the Ender 6 because of how that printer's set up. That's not possible. You would have to add more extrusion onto it to build like a box to stick out and go around, or just like make a big box like this is. I think this is the 3D Upfitters one. It's expensive, but it was the only one I could find for the 5 Plus. Andre M says, will the SVO6 Plus hot end fit the regular SVO6 printhead? I have one. I haven't tried to install it. I really want a Volcano hot end. I'm going to convert it to Clipper soon. I think it will. It looks like it will, but I can't tell you that it for sure will. I don't see why it wouldn't. They're, as far as I can tell, they're the same hot end, just the block is different. So there's that. 3 Express, any interesting non-planar printing at Murph? I did not see that. VSK says, might be a little off topic, but can the Easy Plug run with Google Home? So the answer is not directly, but yes. So how I have mine set up, because I have the Easy Plugs on printers, but I also have them on things in the house, like little lights, or I have a fan in my garage. I have a big wall-mounted fan. I have it on Easy Plug. You would connect it to something like Home Assistant, and then you'd connect Home Assistant to your Google Homes, which is what I do. There's a free way to connect Home Assistant, and they also have what's called their Nabokasa, which I think is either $5 or $6 a month, and it's a seamless integration with Google Home and Amazon Echoes. Personally, I just pay for the Nabokasa subscription. I think I pay yearly because it also goes to help funding that open source project, and I use it literally every day. So the free integration is like it's like a developer type workaround, and while it worked, it would stop working every like 30 to 45 days. So you'd have to go in, like reset it up, and I got tired of dealing with it, and it's like, I don't know, 40 or 50 bucks a year. I just pay them for the Nabokasa subscription. It works. Yeah. So like the Google Homes will not directly talk to these plugs. You need something like Home Assistant, or something else that supports MQTT or Tasmota to be kind of that gateway between the two. I know the Amazon Echoes, because we have what's called Wemo emulation in Tasmota. It'll show up as like one of those Wemo plugs. The Amazon Echoes can talk directly to the Easy Plug. It just thinks it's a Wemo plug. But in terms of Google Home, there's no direct integration. You have to have like a middleman like Home Assistant, which is what I do. So highly recommend Home Assistant. Don't yell at me if you end up going down that rabbit hole, because I started out with just a couple switches and bulbs, and I have hundreds of devices now. It's a problem. But I love it. Jay Trower says, I know you're probably crazy busy. Did you get my email about the Kingroad KP3S Pro S1? That's a mouthful. Yeah, I do still want to look at it. I just have been busy. This week has been very busy. But I'll get back to you. I appreciate the follow-up. I wasn't blowing you off. I've just been crazy busy here. Savag, I can't even say her last name. I like the video for tinkering with the Ender S1. Do you plan to do more for this one or for the Pro? I mean, I've been running my Ender 3 S1 basically how you guys have seen in the video. I did the 5015 fan upgrade kit. I put our ABL sensor on there to get rid of the CR Touch. It's running our firmware and our screen. And that's it. I did have to replace my filament sensor on it. Yeah, the filament sensor died, which is why we carry the filament sensors now. So, yeah. So if you guys need filament sensors for your Ender 3 S1 or I think a couple of Solval models, SV01 Pro, we also carry those new sensors that Creality's using. There's any thoughts regarding the knock to a 24 to 12 volt converters? So the problem is that people put them on their fan outputs and it ends up blowing the MOSFETs. The proper way you guys should use, if you must use lower voltage fans for whatever reason, I'm the fan of just buying the correct voltage fans for my printer, is to just, this is not a treat. I'm like playing with our new Easy ABL case design, because it's a little snap fit lid with a hinge and Comet thinks it's a toy. But what were we talking about? Damn it. Oh, the step downs. So anyways, the step downs, the problem is people will hook them up to the fan outputs and they blow the MOSFETs out, because they're not meant to be PWM'd. They're not. The proper way to do it is just to grab the negative line from the fan header output, then run the fan off of the negative leg off of the MOSFET's output, and then connect the positive leg directly to the step down. So basically the step down is connected directly to the power supply, so it's always on, and then you're just stealing the ground, because at least on our boards, the fan outputs are switching the ground leg. So, and all the grounds are shared on your printer. So like the ground that the fan's going to is the same ground as the one that's on the step down. So basically you're switching the ground. That's the proper way to hook up a step down, but people don't do that because they don't know better. Again, I'm not a fan of them because it's more complexity and most people install them incorrectly. I've also seen a lot of bigger YouTubers, way bigger than us, advise people installing them incorrectly. Yeah, it's a little bit of sore spot because people literally have burned up boards, Creality boards and our Easy boards because they don't listen, like we have it in our guide. Do not connect step downs to the fan outputs. Don't do it. So, all right. Thomas, I see you have a question. Fix it. You did not put you did not put in the correct order, so the bot didn't pick it up. 3 experiments asked, will the Robin E3P run Marlin input shaping enabled? Yeah, that processor ran input shaping. Hill says, I've compiled Marlin lots of times. I think it was when I was going over VS Code. He said, it's just easier to pay Tim for the binaries if your service will provide that too. So our Easy board, our Easy firmware website, if you have an Easy board, that'll spit out binaries. But if you guys do purchase firmware from us, and once we switch to the paid model with the firmware, we will have the option to add on technical support. We will compile firmware for you. So if you tell us what you have, or if you get your configuration file set up to the best of your ability and send us pictures of the printer, we can make sure the configuration matches your wiring and what's on the printer. We will compile firmware for you and send it back. So that is a service we provide. So if you guys, if that is something you would like to, if you are having issues with VS Code, whether you know it's your internet or your computer, or whatever, we are able to compile firmware all day long. So yeah, so if you guys do get like our firmware, like right now we have the aftermarket board paid firmware. If you get the tech support, we will compile firmware for you if you're having issues. You just need to let us know what's on your printer. So, Thomas, I'll answer your question since that was the last one here, and that works out well because we're coming up on 5 o'clock. We try to keep these to an hour. Yeah, George, it's like a fidget toy. So we're working on new stuff for the ABL. One of the thing is I wanted a new housing, so I just printed this in my Stardust filament. But yeah, look at that. It's a nice little one piece with a print in place hinge. I like it. But anyways, input shaping. I actually have it running on 2 machines now. My Ender 3 Pro is running it, which is the one I did the video on. I'm running it right now. and my Ender 6 both have input shaping on, and I've been using them in production. And yeah, it's been working great. So I also just got in some bottles for a certain thing. I like these. I'm going to give a shout out to Tor for finding these. These are felt tip bottles. What do you guys think these are for? It's a secret. I was going to say one other thing. What was I about to say? That's not for you, Comet. Do not eat that. All right. Does anybody have any other questions? Thomas, are you going to do it for your whole print farm? I probably will at some point. The only problem is some of those printers are still running 8-bit boards. Although I do have enough, probably have at this point enough random 32-bit boards here that I will probably be able to outfit most of them. Oh my God, I totally forgot to show you guys all the new shirts that we put in because they're fucking hilarious. Okay, hang on. We're gonna show you guys. I don't know if you guys know we have merch. This is actually the only thing on our website that we do not ship ourselves. They do ship from another company. They typically ship. I think all the shirts ship from the US. I think some of the hats ship from different countries. But we have new shirts. This one I made. I saw one similar to this and was like, I'm gonna make one with ours, so it's actually in our font. I think it's funny. What do you guys think? I also made this one here. I ordered one. I have one on the way, so I will be wearing it on whatever the next stream is after I get it. So I have this one coming, and these all have. I did this nice little touch on the shirts, where you got the TH3D logo on the sleeve there. So it's not on the front, just a nice little touch on the left sleeve. Yeah. So this is the new one. We got 4 new shirts. So again, eventually I get like ideas, and like I'll either like get ideas and like modify designs. This is one. I've had one that says, no, I'll not fix your computer. So no, I will not fix your 3D printer. I thought that would be funny to wear on an Ask Tim stream. What do you guys think? So I ordered this one, just the tip. And then the last one here is the paperclip one. So I also put, just in case, we'll see. Hopefully Microsoft doesn't take issue with this, but if they do, I'll take it down. But I thought it was funny. I actually had to find a semi-high resolution copy of Clippy, and then I used an AI upscaler, and then I did use like a basic speech bubble within the design software we used, and then did like a little 8-bit thing that I found a font. So I'll give a shout out to Trev too. He gave me some better wording, yeah. So looks like you need help. Have you tried leveling your bed? Also, if you guys are on our product announcements email list, there was a 10% off code for all the merch. Although I could find the code and send it to you guys. Let me see. I think I posted it. And they ship pretty quick. It's like less than a week typically every time I've ordered shirts. And the quality is really good. Let me see here. I think I posted it in my bro chat. Like a group chat with all my buddies. Where is my coupon code? There we go. I'll paste it in the chat here for you guys, since you guys are here. There we go. That'll work on our site. 10% off all of the hats and shirts. And it is not time to give the doggos the TREAT just yet. Although they know. They know. Comments right here. Come on, just come up here. You're going to do it anyways. Come on. Come on, up. Come on. No. Come on. Come on. Come on, up. He's like, where's my treat? Come on, up. There he is. All right. Who's a good boy? I know, we got to do the giveaway, and then you guys get your treats. Yes. Yes. All right. Let's do the giveaway. I don't know if I did win 11 sucks. Do you notice my stream is running fine? I'm actually on Windows 11. Yeah, so it's working. It's working fine. Fresh install worked fine on this one. My desktop downstairs had no issues doing an upgrade. My desktop, or my laptops, both my laptops, I got an older laptop that's like an 8th gen i7. That one upgraded fine, and my newer one with the 12th gen i7 worked fine. So I don't know. My computer's just being dumb. Oh, look wait, I got brought a ball. If you ever come over and you throw this for him, he will never leave you alone. And Comet ruined the catch. And apparently I haven't moved enough because my sensor just do it. So anyways, I'm gonna make the giveaway be merch. There we go. So if you guys want to get entered, this is a $25 gift card. I remembered. Dean, how much are you charging for a config file enter 3 v2 427 board? Just buy the firmware with the tech support and send us a request in. The 427 does work with the D1 screen. You will have to update the screen firmware though. But yeah. So yeah, if you guys get our firmware and you get the technical support add-on, it does not come with technical support. If you're buying just the firmware, and it's not going to be bundled with anything, you have to add on the technical support. It was kind of sad because I was looking at our sales numbers, and man, just on that $5 firmware, by the time PayPal takes all their fees, I'm only getting like $4. Yeah, and that's some shit. Let's see if I turn the lights back on. There we go. I moved just enough. Did you see them? They wanted to go outside. Then these little fat asses heard the treat container. Yeah. Yeah. You're pushing me back, Mr. Remo. No. No. I did not ask you to do that. Comet, sit. Shake. No. Remo. Shake. You just try to take that out of my hand? Okay, I'm going to see if I can get Remo to go so I can get Comet to shake. Comet. Comet. Sit. Shake. Good boy. Good boy. All right. We got 10 seconds left. And then we're going to pull the winner. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And all right. We're going to pick a winner. And let's see who won. Ah, Savag. I'm probably saying that wrong. But you won the $25 gift card. So all we need to do is you need to go to... actually, I think the email still works. So you need to send an email to streams@th3dstudio.com and just give me like a screenshot. Like click the little, the Google thing, just showing your like account name. That's it. And we'll send you the gift card. So... and we'll validate that. And then we'll just send you a gift card. And you can spend it on whatever you want, including merch. If you don't need printer parts, we have merch. If you guys got any funny shirt ideas, let me know. I am always open to new ones. So, all right. And whatever. I'll answer this last question. See, someone got in at the last minute. He's asking about when going from a 0.4 now to 0.6, do you have to retune the entire printer like E-steps? No to E-steps. Linear advance, probably. Extrusion multiplier, no. So, yeah, if you're running linear advance, I would run a new linear advance test. It might be okay, but something like that changing, I would definitely recommend. So, all right. I hope you guys had a good stream. I enjoyed hanging out with you. Thank you, Jay Trower, for becoming a member. And where did our other guy go? It just became a member. We got 2 new members, which I appreciate. Let's see here. Oh, also, the other thing, too, is if you guys just want to get all of the firmwares that we put out like all the firmwares. Like right now, we just have some that are paid, but eventually we'll be moving to a fully paid model. The $25 a month Patreon level gives you access to all the paid firmwares. So that's also another way to get it. But we will have a subscription thing set up on our website, so it can auto bill and you can cancel it if you want, without having to contact us or anything. But anyways, we'll be making a full formal announcement once I get everything set up on the back end. And, you know, we'll be doing some cool stuff with the firmware and treating it more like an actual product. So we're going to be allocating more time in it to do cooler things. And then also, like I said, sponsoring Scott on GitHub, because he is the lead Marlin dev maintainer. He refers himself, I think, as the janitor of Marlin. Is that right? I don't know if he's still around here. But yeah. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this stream. I will talk to you guys later. And as always, happy printing. I will see you guys on the next one.